Hi, good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to have you here today. I'd like to warmly welcome you to Abu Dhabi Global Market and to this fourth day of the Abu Dhabi Finance Week. My name is Naima Al-Falassi. I head the corporate business performance team at Abu Dhabi Global Market, and I'll be moderating today's discussion. Ladies, thank you so much for joining us for this roundtable. Let me start by telling our audience a little bit about you. So on my right, Dominic Hazar. So Dominic is Senior Sustainability Manager and Future Skills Lead for EMEA at HSBC Bank Middle East. Dominic is responsible for the development, planning, and implementation of major award-winning sustainability projects in collaboration with non-profit, government entities, and academia. Dominic leads the implementation of the global strategy supporting the development of future skills and entrepreneurship across the region. Dominic holds a postgraduate certificate in sustainability, business management in the value chains, and a certificate in sustainability business management from the University of Cambridge. Thank you, Dominic. Our next panelist is Mona Al-Hashmi. Mona is an Emirati-born and raised in Abu Dhabi, currently in the role of Acting Social Entrepreneurship Division Director at the Authority of Social Contribution, MAN. In her role as Division Director, Mona is responsible for the development and enablement of the social entrepreneurial ecosystem, focusing on fostering social innovation in Abu Dhabi. Mona's professional experience spans across various sectors, and she holds a master's degree in innovation, entrepreneurship and marketing from the University of Queensland, Australia.
Thank you.
Welcome, Mona.
Thank you.
Our last panelist, Sarah, is the CEO of the Family Business Council, Gulf, FBCG, a non-profit membership organization dedicated to the sustainability of the family businesses across the JCC. Previously, Sarah worked as a management consultant at Arthur D. Little Monitor Group and Dubai Holding with public and private sector entities on strategy, transformation, and policy formulation. Sarah holds an MSc with distinction in International Political Economy from the London School of Economics and a BA summa cum laude in International Relations and Economics from Tufts University. She's also a fellow of the Aspen Institute Middle East Leadership Initiative and the Aspen Global Leadership Network. Ladies, I'm really glad to have you here today to discuss financing sustainable economies and communities. So I'd like to kick off by sharing a very interesting fact with all of you. 2 days ago, our world's population has crossed a significant and key milestones. The 8th billion member of our human community was born. We are the first generation that has the opportunity to make an informed decision when it comes to the direction that our planet will take. If we work together, hand in hand and hard enough, we can leave our descendants with a world that has zero poverty, zero hunger, no fossil fuels, and no biodiversity loss. In 2015, September 2015, the Global Assembly of the United Nations adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. It's made of 17 sustainable development goals that are interlinked one to another, and that really come as a universal call for action to work on ending poverty, hunger, protect the planet, provide access to education, good health, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity. Without waiting any longer, Dominic, you've been in the area of sustainability for quite some time now. Can you tell us a bit more about what influenced you to pursue this career?
It's a very interesting question, and thank you for having me here today. I'm going to go back to my childhood, and it will feel a little bit awkward, but since I was 7 years old, I used to be scout in my home country, so I come from Lebanon, and I've always volunteered my time until I was 18 years old, and then decided to continue in landscaping, but then I came back home in 2006, and I had the chance to work with the Italian contingent after the war of 2006 in community development in the south of Lebanon. And it brought me back to my volunteering days back then. And then I saw how important it is actually to bring all these elements together and how a passion could be a job. But then I left back, came to Dubai with my little family, and ended up being the PA of the CEO and chairman of HSBC Bank Middle East, because it was the first job. I needed that job. And when he left, I requested to be moved to the sustainability team. Back then, it was pure CSR, really giving back to the community through philanthropic aspect. And then I saw this evolution. And when this evolution started, I thought that I require more tools to be able to fight, right? Whatever we can fight, either in our own supply chain, bringing these conversations to clients. And I didn't have the means. So I went back to uni and done my postgraduate in sustainability business management in the value chain and as well in the business management as a whole. And the reason behind of all my career was always this passion of giving back. And I never imagined that being in a financial sector will give me this opportunity to broaden the spectrum, to make more impact. And this is not only through the philanthropic aspect that we continue to do, and it's an immense way of giving back to the community where the bank operates, but as working in collaboration with government, with policymakers, with biodiversity entities, with our own client, to really have this holistic approach, either on the climate change, which is the biggest now, and the green economy is one of the biggest, but how do we do this green economy is just transition, which is now the new word that we're starting to hear. So how we make it equitable and equal to everyone as we transition toward this. So what brought me is my passion. What I continue to do is my passion, and I hope that I can and be able to drive more and more impact as I go along.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Dominic. Mona, what about you? What does financing sustainable communities means for you?
For me and for the Authority of Social Contribution, it means investing in ideas, ventures, individuals, community at large, these different groups that are here to make a difference, right? To make a positive social impact on our society. These are socially responsible individuals or ventures, right? They are mindful of their resources and how they optimize and utilizing these resources. So to us, to the authority, we do this through the incubator program, where we launch a competitive incubator program, attracting these mindful, sustainable solutions and bringing them to the forefront, enabling their development and their positive social impact for society at large.
Thank you very much. What about you, Sarah?
Well, given the background that we have with Family Business Council, it's really about family businesses and their continuity. And it resonates with what you said. It's about inheriting something and then passing it on as a responsible owner, as a responsible custodian, always trying to pass it on in a better version than it was originally. And also expanding the perspective from a shareholder to a stakeholder perspective. So it's not just about benefiting the owner, but also benefiting the broader community.
Excellent. So we live in a world where technology takes more and more significant place in our lives. So in your views, Dominic, how does technology impact the world of sustainability? And do you think entrepreneurs could advance this cause?
Yeah. Okay. If you look at what's happening in the world today, technology is very much required in order for us to be able to reach the 1.5, and we will never probably reach it at COP27. Today's and tomorrow, they've just said it. We need to find solutions. These solutions are actually coming by innovative entrepreneurs and impact entrepreneurs. And it is needed. To decarbonize this planet, we will need to invest in technologies. Now, all this is nice to say, but the issue is how these entrepreneurs having access to finance. I know coming from a bank looks a little bit different, but we are creating actually the solution. And the issue of climate change pushed us to be able to be innovative even in our own product. So globally, we have a 100 million fund that invests directly in climate technologies. This is in collaboration with Bill Gates Foundation, because we don't have an option. I mean, I can stop using plastic today. It is important, and please do not misunderstand me. These small actions are important, but unfortunately, we've done a lot to the planet that we are at an edge point where we need these technologies to support us in order to do it. On the other hand, technology is not the only solution unless it is accessible to all. We can build hydroponic today. We can do anything we want for our food security, at example. However, most of the farmers do not have the ability to access it, or probably the knowledge to reach there, or the literacy to be able to adopt such technologies. So we need to be mindful in a way on how we adopt technology, how do we scale technology, and how do we make it accessible for everyone around us. Other way, we're, again, transitioning inequitably and inequally to everyone, and we don't want the inequality gap to really become furthermore as we transition to a lower carbon economy.
Thank you. Very insightful. Sarah, what about women in all of this? So in the recent years, there's been the marked focus from women-founded startups and VCs to solve some of the challenges that plague the greater humanity. So can you share with us your views on this?
Well, first of all, look at our panel. I think it's amazing that they're all women. That tells you something. I think it's been a challenge, but it now has become a systemic challenge, sustainability. And so in a way, it's a new sector that doesn't suffer from some of the legacy issues that other sectors may have had, like engineering and finance. So it's wonderful to see women taking leadership roles in driving the agenda, particularly in the area of finance. And here in the Middle East, we have some wonderful, not just in the VC space, but also in policy-making space. For example, Her Excellency Razan Al Mubarak. We have women leading in the financing space, like Noor Swaid and Sonia Wellmüller. It's a phenomenal ecosystem now, and I think the long to the short question is it's wonderful to have them, and I feel that here in the UAE particularly, they are empowered, they are enabled, and I foresee that they are going to make quite a lot of impact in the long term.
Thank you very much.
Can I add to this? Because it's interesting. Yes, we're seeing this. But however, especially when we talk about entrepreneurs and social entrepreneurs, women have this difficulty actually
Obtaining funds.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it is there. People are changing their mindset. And especially when we speak sustainability, when you speak about EdTech, which is the education technologies. When you speak about poverty and hunger, the woman has this capacity of emotion that brings actually this creative and innovative idea to push for these things. But they still lack this accessibility to funding in order for them to be able to bridge the gap they're fighting for. And I think Ma'an is working toward these things. And you had the social fund, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes, we have the social fund. It's one of our core pillars at the authority, where we deploy contributions that we receive from the community for specific social projects. Yes, it's a means of us activating and engaging the community to support the community's ventures.
Absolutely.
And I second and echo your thoughts on women and the challenges that we face within the entrepreneurial space.
Yeah.
We are advancing gender equality, especially within the UAE, but these are biases that are prevalent around the world,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's a global issue. It's a women's issue. And these, unfortunately, they're biases that some people do not consciously see, and they do impact their ability to acquire funds, to scale their projects, and obtain the support required.
So we're leading, we're on stage, but
Yes.
still there's some missing point that we need to drive, and unfortunately I don't see why in 2022, almost 2023, we're fighting rights that were never actually an issue point. Like the first, if I'm not mistaken, the first woman on board was the wife of the Coca-Cola bottler. I don't know if you know that.
I didn't know this.
Yeah,
No.
and this was in 1934. I mean, 90 years later, we're still fighting for our role on boards. It's a little bit kind of makes you think what we've done wrong
Yes.
to go backward rather than advancing sometimes.
Absolutely.
But it's quite interesting to have these discussions, especially on women, Sarah.
But I feel like there's also a very positive support for women now.
Definitely.
Whereas that support in the society was not there. So a woman had to independently fight to get on that board, and there was no one behind her, probably not even her husband.
No, he
But
died when
now you have the society, the education system, the stock listing companies mandating it. So there are now policies, people, culture, values that are supporting women. And of course, it's not going to happen overnight.
Yep.
But I'm a little optimistic. I think that
Always.
Yeah.
What I would love to see is this kind of support and push from the top down with regards to sustainability, with us becoming a sustainable community. You know, we say that the government is empowering women in the UAE. So what we'd love to see is policy reform and regulation reform to this respect as well, where it trickles down to corporates and SMEs and individuals, where we are put in line and heading towards a positive trajectory.
Excellent. It brings me to my next question, which is basically for all of you. So what do you think are the changes we need to make to face the future effectively?
If I may, of course, this is also Ma'an's vision. Ultimately, this is why we do what we do, which is creating collaborative communities. If we can activate this ecosystem and ensure that all players are collaborating effectively, efficiently. We had a discussion before our panel where everyone is operating in silos, in a sense where everyone wants to beat the other, and it's a competition to who can do it better. But if we remove this mindset and all realize we're in it together, and we're all in this issue at the same time, where we collaborate and engage to meet the ultimate goal. So I think that would be one measure of success. How collaborative are we as an ecosystem within the community? How engaged are we with the community? And then the second would be policy and regulation reform, because of course we're here to make change. So if the top policies and laws and regulations do not adhere to that change, how can we, on a lower level, individual level, sustain that change? So those would be.
Dominic, your views?
I wanted to say the same point, but I will go then from square one. I will say education, education, education.
Yeah.
I say we again, I'm going to say it loudly actually, but we've done enough damage. Enough. I mean, it's not about only climate change, but even if we look at human rights, if we look at gender, if we look at so many things. And I think education is key to bridge all of the issues that we see today. Because if we change our curriculum, our youth will have the ability to grow with a different mindset that we grew in. These bias won't exist.
No.
Environment and climate and biodiversity will become part of their daily life, and then we're giving them this planet. This planet isn't ours, so we need to make sure at least it is in a good shape for them to be able to continue their life in the future. So for me, I will add to policies and regulation and everything. I will add education as well.
Definitely.
At your end, Sarah?
I mean, I second all of that. Definitely collaboration and education. But given the context that I work in with family businesses, what I would love to see more in the UAE and broader GCC is corporate leadership. So private sector taking the lead on things, because they basically touch on different elements. They have the employees, they have the customers and consumers, they work with government. So they are an important node that can affect change in a very dramatic way, by changing the way they treat their employees, by changing the way they produce and deliver services, by changing the policies through advocacy and consultation. So I would love to see more of active corporate leadership in the space of sustainability here in the UAE and broader GCC.
So let's say we all work hand in hand and we make these tremendous changes. What do you think would be the best measure of success? How would you define success in this field?
I mean, we have an amazing metric, which is the SDGs. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's a lot of other ways as well to measure success. But again, in the context that I said, what I would love to see is 5, 6 family businesses championing major sustainability initiatives. For example, investing heavily in renewables through a large renewable energy fund, or investing heavily in education that would allow this change to affect. So for me, it would be 5 years from now, are there 5 to 6 major family groups that are doing really big, high impact sustainability initiatives?
Absolutely. I will add not only the SDG, but I will go into ESG, because I'll take the G as first, and once you have a robust G, you need to take it as your risk framework. If you want to continue in business today, you need to have these elements measurable and direct. Then if you choose couple of the E and couple of the S, you have a holistic approach, and then that are measurable, accountable, you're accounted for them, you report them on a policy level where you need to know what's happening, what is your impact on the environment as a business, what's your impact from a social point of view, how you're tackling them, and then obviously the G. And then you have this holistic approach where you can go out and say, well, do you know, I've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm very happy and I'm proud with it. Now I can move. Right? You can't make it all.
Yes.
You can't make it all at once. It's a journey. I mean, sustainability has always been a journey, right? So you start with it, one step at a time. Once you master one aspect, you move to the second, you master it, and then you continue. There will always be challenges somewhere.
Very insightful.
I won't add too much to this because, mashallah, the ladies have covered a good spectrum. But I think I'll take it back to the traditional way and measure through the measurement of our carbon footprint and how much we emit into the environment. That is a massive indicator of our detrimental impact to the world that we live in. So I'd say if we can reduce that, because we do know that this region in the UAE is a high contributor to carbon emissions. So I think taking it to that level and reducing it to the best of our ability. We as a society, we like to over consume. So I think another measure would be our consumption rates through time. If we can measure if they've reduced significantly across energy, across retail, across non-required expenses. And of course, this is a personal agenda that I'm sharing with you. That we tend to be a society of surplus. So to me, an indicator of if we reduce that a little bit and become a little more subsistence living, where we just live to the level that we need to have a dignified life and respect the resources that are scarce.
Let's go to consumer behavior.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that
everything
we have
trickles
the
down to that.
right sentence to close up this.
Yeah. but before we close up, just one more question, Dominic or maybe Sarah. If you had to give one advice or one message to these young generations and to the new people that would consider entering these fields, what would it be? One sentence.
I would love to hear Dominique's answer, because we started with her telling us her own personal story, and she's a big proponent of education. Not to put
If
you
I
on
have
the
to
spot.
say, no, absolutely not. But if I have to say it, I mean, working with the field of sustainability, if you don't have the passion for it, I don't know how to do it if I don't have my passion, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a fight.
Yeah.
And if you don't have this connection, if you don't have this willingness, because every door you're going to knock, it's going to close. You have to have this consistency of keep on opening until you achieve whatever you want to see. And I think the new generation is very much aware of this. The new generation actually want to work something they love. They don't want a job.
Yeah.
Yes.
They want to enjoy.
100%.
So sustainability is the way forward. But it doesn't have to be an independent. Everyone can embed sustainability in everything that they do. You're in technology, use the technology for good. Right? You're in HR, use the skills for good. integrate sustainability in everything that you do. And I think this is the best way of looking at sustainability. And
Yeah.
it's not an independent pillar anymore, but it's an integrated pillar in everything that you do. And I would encourage everyone to do it if they have their passion for it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ladies, I'd like to close today's very insightful session by a personal request to all of you, all of us. So let's all remember that building a sustainable future is everyone's responsibility. And every effort, as little as it may seem, matters. So thank you very much to our audience today. Thank you to our brilliant panelists, ladies, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much. Bye now.